is up, gangsters? And remember this series? Oh man, this is gonna be terrible. The wind is blowing like crazy outside. Maybe I should listen to the one guy that left a comment. You know, like invest in a cheap little like lapel microphone. So, sorry for the audio in this video. Anyway, remember this series? I actually started working on this 5th part like well over a year and a half, like almost 2 years ago, and I honestly don't remember what stopped me from finishing it back then. But hey, here we are, and in case you're wondering, like, well, what was this again? I'll link to the first part in the series in the video description below. It'll give you a little bit of context, but really all you really need to know is it's basically just an excuse to take a look at a bunch of shitty horror movies. Although the thing is, down the line we're actually going to be talking about a bunch of pretty great and even like classic titles, and that's probably the main reason I wanted to pick this series up again. It's just in this particular video, and that's probably the reason why it took me so long to, you know, actually pick it up again, the movies aren't all that great. Although, in all honesty, I do kind of like the first one, so let's take a look at that. It's Eaten Alive. And, well, hey, with a title like that, what's not to love? Let's take a look. Not to be confused with Tobe Hooper's Eaten Alive, also known as Death Trap, which we've covered as part of the original Video Nasty series. Now, this, of course, is a cannibal movie by father of the genre Umberto Lenzi, who we've also covered twice already during the original Video Nasty series with the one that started it all, Deep River Savages, and genre favorite Cannibal Ferox. And that is why I like the fact that with Eaten Alive, we do get a bit of a different approach. Sure, we get the mandatory cannibal flick element. Oh no, someone's lost, so let's go to the jungle. There's some Mondo type footage. Uh-oh, now it's a jungle survival adventure thing. There's actually quite a bit of animal cruelty in this one. I can usually do without. And, of course, the cannibals themselves. But amid all of this, we find Ivan Rasimov's character Jonas, cult leader of the Sect of Purification. Perhaps somewhat reminiscent of Jim Jones, who infamously convinced a bunch of people to kill themselves, which happened about a year and a half before this movie was released. So maybe there's a, you know, like, little inspired by it. But yeah, and that is where most of this movie takes place, at the cult. The cannibals, they just happen to be in the general area, which sort of prevents our main characters from leaving the cult after they're being somewhat forcefully held there. See, Sheila here, she lost her sister, so she recruits the help of, hey, it's cannibal expert Robert Kerman. You know, we've seen him in Cannibal Holocaust, you recognize him. Yeah, there's actually quite a few familiar faces in this one, and boobs. As later we'll see Mimi Lay again as well, who is naked literally throughout the entirety of this movie, which sucks because, you know, now I'll have to censor that, and it's a bunch of work. Anyway, they go look for the lost sister and soon find her being brainwashed in Jonas's cult. Although brainwashed, he mostly just drugs people and comes up with bullshit ass rituals like group rapings and whatever the hell you describe this as. Basically, Jonas and his followers, they're a bigger threat here than the cannibals, which I like, you know, switching things up a little bit. Although the cannibals still do their part, cutting off penises and whatnot. Mimi Lay has a fate similar to her character in Last Cannibal World, which we've also covered. Similar as in the exact same, as in they literally reuse her kill from that movie in this one. Pretty cool though. And sad. But our heroes, of course, eventually manage to escape. The cult drinks their Kool-Aid. The end. And it's a pretty decent contribution to the genre, I'd say. There's some cool gore, some cool music, and yeah, well, that's basically it. I mean, yeah, if you're able to enjoy the occasional cannibal flick, you can definitely do a lot worse than this, I'd say. Not really much that I can add to this one, so thank you, Umberto Lenzi, and we'll see you again in part 11. But for now, let's move on to the next movie, which is Enter the Devil. Ooh, that sounds pretty intense, right? Well, it's actually my least favorite movie that we'll be covering today, so let's just quickly get it over with. Enter the Devil. Ooh, I mean, it does sound a little scary, right? It's just, the movie itself, it really isn't. It's
It's actually quite uneventful. It's a typical regional horror movie. It's set in the Texan desert along the Mexican border. Things start off like, oh no, we see this guy's being sacrificed by this crazy, undefined cult. And then this deputy sheriff, he goes on an investigation at this hunting cabin lodge. And here, just not that much happens. They're mostly drinking a bunch of beer. They sure love themselves some Pearl. And I remember the name of the brand since they're freaking credited at the end. They flirt with the Mexican personnel. Sam over here even thinks about raping one of them since, she came on strong.
Well, you sort of came on pretty strong back at the dining hall,
Yeah, that's not how that works. So, yeah, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But then eventually another person goes missing. And the bodies that they keep finding, there's something a little off about them. It's almost as if they didn't die of the obvious causes, but instead as if they were perhaps sacrificed during a crazy cult ritual. Oh no. And then about halfway through, this anthropologist joins the club. She's here to research weird cults and religions. What are the chances? The lodge owner immediately tries to woo her, of course.
A man could sure get lost in those eyes.
Playa. And then, well, the deputy eventually discovers the cult and oh. But it's just also, it's slow, it's dialogue heavy, with the dialogue not being all that interesting.
It's a little late to be heading back for town. Can you put me up for the night?
With an empty lodge, you can have your pick of accommodations.
Put it on the county's bill.
Now this time it's on me.
Beer too?
Beer too.
Well, in that case, I'll see you later.
Okay. It's just all so sleepy. And I found myself dozing off a bunch of times until, at random points you get a bit of excitement. Like, for example, here. What the fuck was that? Jesus, what happened? Why did the car fucking explode mid-air? Oh man. That was cool though. But I guess they saved most of the excitement for the ending, where they hit you with a plot twist. Which I won't spoil for all of those that I've so obviously convinced to watch this movie. It's not great though, the twist. Twists aren't inherently good. This was just an objectively neutral twist. I did love it when the sheriff department came blasting in with fucking machine guns. Jesus Christ, is that how law enforcement works in small town America? It's crazy. Anyway, it's a shame that this movie sort of sucks. It honestly had quite a bit of potential to be, something I enjoy quite a lot. I mean, generally speaking, I love these cult-centered stories, these themes. Even here, I do love the bits with the cult, the whole imagery, the chanting. Besides that, the isolated location is fantastic. It serves as a great backdrop to the story. The mine and the cold cave location, they're cool as well. As is Paco and this ninja roll. But that's about it. So yeah, I quite enjoyed the setting and the general ideas there. It's just I really didn't care for the generic, uneventful and mostly boring execution. I do, however, appreciate the fact that these far from classic, basically forgotten movies like Enter the Devil, that they're able to get these glorious HD treatments in this day and age. In this case, courtesy of Massacre Video. When I originally worked on this video, 1.5, 2 years ago, I think it was just before Massacre Video released it, and I had to do with this shitty VHS transfer. Really, half the notes that I took while watching it was me complaining about that I could barely see what the hell was going on. So that I really appreciate. That's really cool. The movie itself, not so much. So let's move on. Which means that it's now time for us to revisit our favorite Video Nazis regular, Jess Franco. If I'm not mistaken, he already provided 4 titles to the original Video Nazi series. And in this one, the Section 3 list, we've already seen him twice. So are you guys as curious as I am as to what he's going to treat us with today? Well, it's the Erotic Rites of Frankenstein. Bet you didn't see that one coming, did you? Well, let's see. Woo, this is quite a liberal interpretation of the literary Gothic classic Frankenstein. As, well, for starters, this features a blind, naked, cannibalistic bird lady with mind control powers, which I believe didn't make the cut in the original work. But let's back up a little bit. This movie was released in '73, as did 11 other Jess Franco movies, including The Demons, which we've covered in the previous part, and with whom this movie shares a bunch of actors. 2 versions of this were shot at the same time, a clothed Spanish version, and the one that we're talking about, like that we're taking a look at right now, the shorter, unclothed French version. And man, this movie is out there. The story has something to do with the evil master Cagliostro killing Dr. Frankenstein and stealing his monster, to then use that monster to catch pretty virgins for him, which he'll then use to create the perfect woman, so that the monster and this perfect woman can breed an army of perfect human beings to take over the world. Which is a terribly flawed plan for several reasons, not the least of which being, how fast did he plan on making this army? Anyway, fortunately, Frankenstein's daughter, Vera, she's here and, well, she's gonna try and stop him. But in all honesty, is the plot something that really matters when you've decided to go and watch a movie called The Erotic Rites of Frankenstein? It shouldn't. What you should is just enjoy the crazy pulp you'll get thrown at you. Like the silver body spray and terrible makeup that they've used on the monster. Definitely Cagliostro's current army of... What even are these? Some of these are literal skeletons. It's... wow. Then there's this whipping scene, which I still have trouble describing, so I'm just showing it. Cagliostro, he definitely thinks it's funny though. The several scenes where Vera just, you know, casually resurrects her father just for a bit to get tiny bits of information out of him. Then there's this acid attack. What happened to his head? What? Oh wow. And of course, the aforementioned bird lady. There's a lot going on here. And sure, I'm making fun of it a bit, but there is some actual good stuff here as well. As often the case with Franco, visually, this is quite on point. The locations are memorable, the wide-angle cinematography is pleasant. There's some fun lighting. But yeah, the movie definitely manages to create quite a bit of atmosphere at times. Sure, overall, the movie, it's not great, but with the French cut clocking in at barely 75 minutes, it definitely doesn't overstay its welcome. It's actually a rather fun and wild ride through the deranged, nonsensical imagination of Jess Franco.
Yeah, it's honestly it's not boring, and it is what I usually dread when it comes to like checking out James Franco. Okay, yeah, well. So good job. Of course, this is not the last time we'll be hearing of him during this series. Well, see him one more time. Part 12. But first, the next movie, which is simply called The Evil. See, it doesn't always have to be that complicated. So, let's see what The Evil is all about. Ooh.
Well, there's this huge house, and this guy, CJ, he just bought it. It used to be I believe a conservatory for young women, and now he and some friends are gonna renovate it, like fix it up nice, so he can turn it into a, I'm not quite sure actually, but it also doesn't really matter because, well, we all know what's gonna happen. They're in the evil house. Yeah, it actually doesn't take long for CJ's wife, Carolyn here, to spot a ghost. She actually sees him a lot throughout this movie. And then there's this dog who, of course, also notices that something's off, as for some reason, all dogs always detect supernatural activity. Has there been a study on this that I've missed? Anyway, CJ opens this pit in the basement and, looks like he unleashed the evil, and now they're locked inside the house. By the way, did I mention that CJ is not religious? His stubbornness and willingness to be able to rationally explain all that's going on, it's being overused here to an almost comedic degree. Even when people are literally like dying left and right, being thrown around throughout the house, he is still like, oh well, there has to be a logical explanation for this. No, there hasn't. Didn't you see the dog? But yeah, it's all rather generic, but there are a handful of cool scenes where the house is wreaking havoc. People are being launched in the air, this girl's being tossed around, a little obviously by wires, but I'll take it. I guess they figured that, if they'll rip apart her clothes, no one would notice. Can't fool me, dog. Oh, and then there's this guy who all of a sudden starts sawing through his hand. Damn, that's not good. So, yeah, that is cool, but these bits are kind of few and far between. For the majority of the movie's running time, we're just stuck with these rather uninteresting characters. They're not even all that likable. This guy, for example, he pulls the worst prank for literally no apparent reason. Hey, come on! It's just a prank, bro. Dude, like, what are you doing? And then there's this student. She's mostly just a little annoying. But again, I guess they figured that, if they have her wear no bra, no one would notice. Shut up! Oh, yeah, that works as well. But yeah, that's really about it. While it's not per se super boring, I mean, I'll admit that I've been pretty entertained throughout the 2 times that I've seen this now. It's just, that's about it. It's really nothing special, like nothing stands out. Except perhaps the ending, which does stand out like a sore thumb. Skip to here if you want to avoid spoilers. Like, whoa, can you imagine? But yeah, really quick. Because apparently the evil house was built over a gateway to hell, and now all of a sudden they're hanging out with Satan? What? Yeah, I'm not really buying it. But then, ta-da, and everything is fine again. What was up with the ending? Not a fan. It's not like it ruins the movie, although that's mostly because, well, there wasn't really that much to ruin to begin with. So yeah, it was okay. It was The Evil. Which brings us to the last title in today's video, and it's another one of those like oddball additions to the video nasties list. Here we'll cover it under its title, The Executioner, which does kind of sound like gory horror shit. But it's also known as Like Father, Like Son, and perhaps most widely as Massacre Mafia style. And yes, this is indeed a mafia flick. Okay, well, let's see. The story behind this movie is actually rather interesting. See, this movie is written, directed and produced by and stars Duke Mitchell. And Duke Mitchell, he was a rather successful Italian-American singer-entertainer who used the earnings from his nightclub act to make this movie so that he could tell his version of, well, basically The Godfather. Or, well, the life of the Italian-American and its connection to the mob life and whatnot. So, okay, cool, well, let's see what that's all about. Duke Mitchell plays Mimi, the son of a former mafia boss who decides to move to LA to work his way up in the business. And he plans on doing this with his childhood friend Jolly, who he hadn't seen in forever, but who's almost immediately like, yeah, sure, I'll do some gangster shit with you. And gangster shit they do. Like kidnapping this other high-up mafia boss and sending a package with his finger to his family asking for ransom. That's classic. And then later, they show up at this same boss's son's wedding. Now, that's a baller move if I've ever seen one. And it somehow even works. As in, they gain respect and get accepted to do the mob family. And from here on out, Mimi tries to work his way up, but soon finds himself in a few tight situations. As tends to happen when, like that. So yeah, sounds pretty straightforward, pretty cool. Why is this one on the list again? Well, there are a bunch of action scenes with violent shootouts and whatnot. The movie actually opens with this pretty epic one where first they execute this super convoluted kill and then go on and shoot up the whole place. All of which, as you just heard, set to a recording of his own. Again, baller move. So yeah, there's a few gory bits that the censors probably didn't like, and some other stuff that has not aged greatly.
You ain't nothing but a nigger. You'll always be a nigger. Nothing but a nigger and a rotten pimp to boot, man.
Ugh. But yeah, now, see, the thing is, I absolutely respect Doug Mitchell and his determination, the fact that he made this movie, and I honestly feel like it has its heart very much in the right place. It's just, I'm not completely convinced that the end result is all that special. Like, it's fine. It's a gritty, low-budget mafia flick. I mean, sure, I enjoyed it. There's some great music in it by the man himself. The acting was okay. I do love how Mitchell wrote himself such a badass, smooth-talking, fearless character. It's like as if he went like, yeah, well, that's me, right? And the casting throughout seems pretty good. You know, like these party scenes with the big families, I quite enjoy. You know, they seem rather legit. But that's about it. I mean, I certainly didn't love it. Then again, that's okay. I mean, let's not forget that this is a series on Section 3 video nasties. We don't go into these expecting to fall in love with every single one of them.
So, well, yeah, there you have it. The Executioner. Or, you know, like Massacre Mafia style. Or, wait, what was the other one again?
Like father, like son.
That's it. Perhaps I like the fact that this movie exists more than the movie itself, if that makes sense. And once again, just like with Enter the Devil, you gotta give props to these companies, in this case Grindhouse Releasing, for giving these movies basically a second life. Grindhouse Releasing even managed to finish and release his follow-up movie, Gone with the Pope, for the first time some 25 years after it was left unfinished back in '76. That's cool. And well, that also brings us to the end of this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and you know, in general, the new content that I've been uploading here to PGHR. That's the name of the channel, guys. I am actually kind of curious as to what you guys expect or would like to see here on this new channel. I mean, like don't worry, I have like more than enough ideas to fill like a handful of videos. But at the same time, you know, I do kind of also want to give the viewers what they want. So please feel free to leave something in the comments, you know, like what you'd like to see, and you know, maybe I can find like a nice bridge between what I'd like to make and what you guys would like to see. I know that lately I kind of suck when it comes to, you know, like replying to comments. I often forget to do so. But I do read like every single one of them, and you know, like now with less viewers, it'll be easier to reply. So I'll try to do that. So yeah, cheers guys, have a nice day.